So, large SUVs, we're basically talking about anything larger than like a Toyota RAV4 or a BMW X3 kind of size. And for this category, and much like the previous episodes in this series, while there might be other vehicles that offer more luxury and more of the touchy-feely stuff that comes with certain brand names, we're focusing on the important stuff. So obviously being large SUVs, safety and practicality are critical, but these SUVs, they need to be reliable, and like the cost of maintenance and upkeep and spare parts, all of that stuff, it needs to be affordable. And as always, and so we don't alienate a huge percentage of you guys, we have tried to keep our recommendations to vehicles that are as internationally and as readily available as possible. Anyway, let's kick things off. It's the Mazda CX-9. For 20,000 Aussie dollars, you're going to be looking at first generation CX-9s built from 2006 to 2015. But here's the hot tip. Stick to post 2013 updated models and try to find a low mileage top spec example. Here in Australia, that is going to be a 7-seat Grand Touring. And with it, you're going to get the full suite of tech and features and all-wheel drive for some added physics-based safety. However, don't think because it has all-wheel drive that it's any sort of capable four-wheel drive, because it's really not. In saying that, the front-wheel drive CX-9s will be fine for around town and out on freeway runs, but there is something about the extra security and safety that comes with all-wheel drive. And just on that, sticking to post-2013 models, this is highly recommended, as pre-2013 CX-9s, they can have a few issues. Everything from minor problems like electronic gremlins through to serious stuff like water pump and diff issues, to catastrophic failures like engines and transmissions just giving up. All of those things have been reported. And obviously this doesn't affect all pre-2013 CX-9s, but the reports are far more prevalent surrounding these older models. Look, overall, just get a 2014 or 2015 model instead. Next up, it's two 7-seat SUVs that are honestly pretty much the same thing, but they're different. We're talking about the Hyundai Santa Fe and the Kia Sorento, and for this budget, you're going to be looking at 2012 to 2018 models for the Santa Fe and 2015 to 2018 models for the Sorento. Depending on the trim spec, both SUVs feature a very similar range of tech, safety and features. Both are incredibly close when it comes to practicality and driving feel, and that's largely due to both being built on the same platform and featuring pretty much the same mechanical packages. However, in saying that, aside from the diesel-engined examples, the Santa Fe is available with a 2.4 litre petrol engine in the base spec model, but we'd be avoiding that for the time being because there are some serious concerns surrounding its reliability. But both the Santa Fe and the Sorento are available with a V6 driving the front wheels, and this V6 is a pretty good thing. Look, yes, it is on the thirsty side, but with the right care and maintenance is proving to be very reliable and is arguably more affordable to repair when compared to the diesels if anything were to go wrong. But the vast majority of Santa Fe and Sorentos on the used market here in Australia will be diesel powered. And look, that's fine as long as all of the servicing and maintenance is up to scratch. There are reports of oil consumption, some timing chain issues, and all of the usual modern common rail diesel concerns like DPF and EGR dramas. But many of these problems can be mitigated with the right maintenance, and equally, many of the vehicles showing these issues have not been maintained correctly or have been mistreated. Just try to find the most recent, lowest mileage, highest spec example you can and make sure it has a full and thorough service history, and steer clear of the 2.4 litre petrol engine for now anyway, or at least until Kia and Hyundai explain to us why they keep blowing up. Okay, next up, let's swap out the road car-like driving dynamics for some serious off-road ability and immense levels of reliability even in the worst conditions. It's the Nissan Patrol. For around $20,000, you can get yourself into a motoring icon, the GU or Y61 Patrol. The GU first appeared way back in 1997, but we'd be sticking with the more recent post-2005 models because prior to 2005, the ZD30 engine had a bit of an affinity for cracking pistons, although at this age, you would expect any of these issues have been sorted out by now. With such a long history and a wide range of trim spec generations and even engines to choose from, even those in the Patrol community will argue over exactly which Patrol is best, but we'd be steering you towards the most recent, lowest mileage, best condition ST that you can find with that legendary ZD30. But even though the Patrol is regarded as one of the most robust and reliable vehicles to ever grace our globe, it is critical to make sure that it hasn't been abused, so be sure to watch our ultimate 4x4 buyer's guide before handing over your cash. The link is up here and also down there, and guys, please watch that before you buy any off-roader. Also, as epic as a Patrol can be, if you're after a refined and comfy modern SUV experience, well, maybe the Patrol isn't for you. These are based on a decades-old vehicle, and they do prioritize sheer ability and toughness over keeping you all cozy and snug. Look, they're not unbearable to live with by any means, but when it comes to like the touchy-feely stuff, yeah, there's certainly no Toyota Kluger or Highlander, which brings us to our next SUV. For those of you watching outside of Australia and thinking, hang on, what the hell is a Kluger? That looks like a Highlander to me. Well, yeah, you're right. You guys all call it the Highlander, we call it the Kluger, but the generation that you're going to be looking at is the 2007 to 2013 XU40. Yes, you might be able to get yourself into an early XU50 for this budget, but chances are it's going to be a base trim spec with loads of kilometres on it. So instead, we'd be getting a top spec lower kilometre previous generation. These things are absolutely bulletproof in terms of reliability. They're supremely practical, and in post-2010 update top spec Grande, they do offer real refinement, and they're just a lovely 7-seat SUV. Negatives? Well, the infotainment systems suck. You're going to want to replace that. Being a Toyota, you are paying more for longevity than you are the bells and whistles. The 2GR FE, it's not the most economical engine out there, but in saying that, it will probably outlast humanity. And aesthetically, the entire vehicle, well, they've never really exuded a whole lot of sex appeal, and you can forget about doing any real off-roading in it. But besides that, for the pick of soft-roading large SUVs, well, this might be the one. But what if you need to tackle a situation where there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep you from getting to your intended destination? Well, sticking with Toyotas for a moment, there's a couple of options. $20,000 will get you into a 2010 or 2011 base spec 5-seat 150 series Land Cruiser Prado GX, or as we call it, the United Nations spec. And at this price, it's going to have travelled well over 200,000 kilometres. And for a tough, go pretty much anywhere workhorse of an SUV that comes with Toyota's outstanding reputation for reliability and their support network, yeah, this could be an option. However, a few more creature comforts would be nice, as would lower kilometres on the clock. So instead, we'd be steering you towards an older 2003 to 2009 120 series Prado. Now, we are still talking about a near 20-year-old Prado here, so look, don't go expecting modern creature comforts or levels of refinement. This is still very much a rugged, no-nonsense off-road tackling truck of a thing. Just in Grande or VX trim, you'll also get a leather interior and a few more bells and whistles. Plus, for $20,000, we'd be sticking with a Mark III 120 Series 2. These are the 2006 to 2009 model year examples, and they're available with either a petrol or a diesel engine. But which should you buy between the petrol and the diesel? Well, it is very much a personal preference, as the diesel will probably last forever, but only if it's always fed clean air, fuel and oil. And while it might save you money in terms of fuel use, those savings, they could be eaten up with maintenance. Whereas the petrol is the legendary 1GR FE power plant, which, yep, it can love to have a drink, but it is near bulletproof as far as reliability goes, and aside from regular servicing, should be relatively maintenance free. Also, the other option here is the iconic 100 series Toyota Land Cruiser, which more than deserves its incredible reputation. But the thing is, for $20,000, even a more recent example, which at best will be like a 2007 model, will be showing well over 350,000 kilometers on the clock. The 100 series has obviously been designed and engineered and has proven countless times that it can last the distance. But buying a Land Cruiser like this really is only for those that specifically need what a 100 series can offer. Yes, they are an epic thing, but for the majority of buyers in this kind of market out there, maybe they're a bit too much of a compromise. But what if you don't want to compromise and you want to take all of the best bits of the vehicles that we've mentioned so far? Easy, it's a Mitsubishi Pajero, or Montero, or Shogun. As reliable as the Toyota options are, look, there's no denying they do come with a substantial amount of Toyota tax, thanks to their superb reputation for reliability. But many argue that the big Mitsubishi offers equal levels of reliability and just sheer ability, while avoiding any of the costs involved the minute that Toyota stick on their badge. In fact, next time you're driving around, just take note of how many of these Pajeros are still on our roads. They are bloody everywhere, and that's a really good sign. Now, the specific Pajero that we're referring to is the 2012 to 2014 NW, or the 2014 to pre-2017 NX. And look, that NX is going to be a challenge to find at this $20,000 budget, but try to find one of the higher spec models if you can. Now, unlike the majority of other SUVs, the Pajero has evolved over decades. In fact, this whole generation, which in itself existed from 2006 to 2021, is ostensibly a revised and improved version of the previous generation, which in itself was around from the late 1990s. And this means that rather than starting fresh and trying to iron out all of the typical new car teething bugs in a short space of time, Mitsubishi honed and refined the original design over multiple incarnations, resulting in these NW and NX models being about as good as they possibly ever could be. Plus, the pre-2017 diesel-engined models, they avoid many of the complications that we're seeing with DPFs, because they don't have DPFs. And even EGR issues seem to be less of an issue when compared to other manufacturers. And while the petrol-powered Pajeros, they do enjoy a drink, with the right maintenance, these engines could match the Toyotas for reliability. Then, thanks to the Pajero's monocoque chassis being integrated with a ladder frame, it offers the best of both worlds when it comes to on- and off-roading adventures. Unlike many other supremely off-road capable SUVs of this type, the brilliant Super Select 2 four-wheel drive system allows you to drive in four-wheel drive mode on sealed surfaces. They're hugely practical, and being a Mitsubishi, you're going to get loads of equipment for your money. Now, we have made a full review video of this generation of Pajero, and I highly recommend watching it and read through the comments, because it's pretty much just Pajero owner after Pajero owner raving about how much they love their Pajero. The video is up there and down there somewhere. And before we wrap this up, we have an honourable Aussie mention here. It's the Ford Territory, and specifically a post-2011 model, and with the iconic Barra engine. Now look, the Territory, it is very far from perfect, but it is another larger SUV that punches so far above its weight. And guess what? We've made a full review video of the Territory too. It's up there and down there. Now, we're guessing a few of you are going to be upset that we didn't include, say, a Jeep Grand Cherokee, or an Audi Q7, or a Volkswagen Touareg, or a BMW X5, or a host of other SUVs. Firstly, the Jeep. Look, anytime we feature a Jeep on ReDriven, the comments section splits into an almost perfect 50-50 division of, oh, I love my Jeep and I've never had an issue, versus, oh my God, I hate my Jeep, it is a constant nightmare. And then compare that to the Pajero videos where the owners seem to be overwhelmingly in favour of the big Mitsubishi. Plus, it doesn't help that Jeep are often at the disappointing end of countless reliability and ownership surveys. And then when it comes to the Euro SUVs, look, if maintained meticulously, they can be good things, and they do arguably provide a feeling of luxury and prestige that many of the SUVs that we've mentioned just cannot match. But here in Australia, it does seem that problems and issues occur far more often on the Euro alternatives than that of their Japanese and Korean counterparts. Plus, parts often ask a premium, as does the labour to fix them. Look, if you're happy to buy non-OEM parts on eBay or online and love to work on it yourself, that is awesome. But you got to remember, you are in the minority. For most people that have no interest in working on their car, they just want reliability and an effortless ownership experience. And having your Touareg or your Q7 spend more time on a mechanic's hoist than in your driveway, it doesn't make for a fun or affordable time. So guys, what did you think? Do any of these float your boat? Let us know in the comments section below. And can you hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video? And if you want to support ReDriven, click the link down there and become a patron on our Patreon. We'll love you forever. See you next time. As internationally and as well, look, as reliable as the Toyota options are, look, there's no denying that they do come with which in itself existed from 2006 to 2021. The ZD30 engine had a bit